Welcome to the LynnCAM TV Show, a program which focuses on organizations, nonprofits, municipalities, and issues affecting the city of Lynn. Here with me today to discuss developing in Lynn, we have City Council President Dan Cahill and Executive Director of Community Development, Jamie Marsh. Guys, thanks for being here today. Before we get too much into developing Lynn, which is a hot topic now, there's a lot going on, let's learn a little bit about you guys and what your responsibilities are at your respective jobs. Dan, we'll start with you.
Well, Sean, I appreciate you having me here, and Jamie, you being here as well. I'm just curious. I didn't see Joe Spina, I didn't see Paul Crowley or Al DiVigilio, so I just want to make sure that I'm on the right show. Am I on the right show?
You are.
Okay.
Now they're in the attic. They're waiting for next Wednesday.
They're getting their makeup.
Yeah.
I heard they get makeup. We didn't get makeup. Just so everyone out there knows, we did not get any makeup. This is how we really look. We wanted to be. I have a lot of hair right now, so I use a lot of.
Yeah, you got that.
Very matted down.
You're a product guy,
I
huh?
need to go to a barber, and I just haven't had the time. So.
A what?
It's a person who cuts hair.
It's the book we read our kids, Baba.
This is already getting pretty bad. I mean, you guys are already getting at me. So, but thanks for having us on the show. We're really excited to be here. I'm Dan Cahill. I'm on the City Council. I'm a councilor at large, and I've been elected now for the last 3 or 4 terms. They all kind of melt together, but we're having a lot of fun, doing a lot of good things for the city of Lynn, and we're excited today to talk about some of the exciting things that are happening in and around the city.
Sure. Now, you're a city council president. For those of us at home who may not know exactly what you do, what is your responsibility as a city council president?
I basically call balls and strikes. I run the meetings. The councilors set the agenda in the debate. And I kind of try to run an efficient meeting. Sometimes when I don't run a very efficient meeting, I get lots of texts and phone calls and emails from people saying last night wasn't your best performance. But basically, as a city council president, all you're really doing is just communicating with all the councilors, hearing what their needs are, trying to set a proper agenda for every meeting, trying to fit as much as we have onto every meeting plate. And again, we're just efficiently running a parliamentarian type meeting. So other than that, I get 1 vote just like everybody else.
You guys do an outstanding job. Jamie, Executive Director of Community Development, let's learn a little bit about you and what your responsibilities are.
Well, my main responsibility is running the Community Development Block Grant, which we're what's called an entitlement community. Every year we get a certain amount of money from the federal government to run my office. We do facade programs with that money. We do antique lights. We give some money out to different nonprofit organizations. And other than that, we run a lot of the grants that we get from the state. We manage a few facilities, Seaport Marina, the Multi-Service Center, and the best job I have, the fun job that I have, is running the Lynn Auditorium.
Nice, yeah. Lynn Auditorium is a huge part of what you do, and we were talking before the show. It's been around since 2000. You guys have been doing this, and it's amazing. The really cool part of your story that you told, I mean, one of the questions that I had is like, how do you reach out to these guys? You just call Aerosmith and you're like, hey, we need a show. But you guys have established yourself at doing this so well that now you're getting calls from performers. So that must be pretty exciting for you guys.
It is.
So let's talk a little bit about your respective organizations. The City Council, it's your responsibility to have these meetings, conduct them, all that fun stuff. But Dan, what's the City Council all about?
The City Council, if you think about it, is a partner with the mayor. The mayor, if you want to put it in like a business perspective, is the CEO of the city. She runs the day-to-day operations. She manages the employees from top to the bottom. She also is chairperson of the Lynn School Committee. As far as the council is concerned, we're just an adjacent body. The makeup, I think the real intent of a council is to have folks that represent smaller portions of the city, so there's more of a direct contact with residents in certain areas of the city, so they can bring their concerns to a larger body. And there's 7 wards in the city, there's 7 ward councilors, and there's also 4 at-larges. So then you have some issues that impact the entire city, and the at-larges are able to take the considerations of all 4 corners of the city and put them into our decision-making process. So we're partners with the mayor. We agree, we disagree, but there's always a lot of debate and a lot of collaboration between the 2 bodies. And I think for over the last 9 months, there's been a lot of collaboration and there's been a lot of decisions that have been made for the betterment of the city. Some controversial, some not, but we are doing our best to make sure that this is a great community. Sometimes, if I can go off a little bit, people think that we're not in touch with residents, but folks have to remember, I mean, we are just that. We're just a bunch of residents that happen to put our name on a ballot and get elected. So when my trash isn't picked up, along with my neighbor's trash, I'm just as upset. And when there's potholes on my street, just like everyone else's street, I just get as upset as they do. So it is not something where we're in an ivory tower. We're very much in the community. We're very much regular men and women from all different cultures and walks of life and different professions, and it works really well, I think.
Yeah, it's quite an effective system that you guys have in place. It's pretty regular thing throughout a lot of cities like Lynn. But so Jamie, you're the executive director over at Community Development. A lot of what goes on there, you're probably involved in. But for those of us who don't know at home, give us a quick history of Community Development and then what your mission is.
Yeah, Community Development was a Nixon administration program that started in the 1970s. We're what's called an entitlement community, which we're entitled to this money each year. There's other communities in Massachusetts and actually throughout America that have to apply to the Community Development Block Grant each year to get the money, but we're entitled to it. And we've gotten the money since the 1970s.
All right, cool. So now developing in Lynn, there's a lot going on. If anybody who's watching has driven through Wyoma Square, you know about that. We're also trying to develop the marina, City Hall, the Lynn Auditorium. There's been some improvements there. The parks, this is a lot of stuff that you're involved with. But I'd like to start with the schools. Most recently, the schools have been painted, right? So that's new. What else is going on? What do we have to look forward to? Dan, can you take this one?
I think most people know there's a pretty big school being built down on Brookline Street right now.
Right.
The new Thurgood Marshall.
Right.
We get updates from the Mass School Building Authority. We get updates from Mike Donovan from Inspectional Services. I know the school committee has done an exceptional job, along with Kathy Latham, the superintendent, on keeping on track of that building being built, and it looks like it's pretty much on schedule. It's on budget. And I was down there a couple of weeks ago, and they have these massive concrete pilings that are just driving into the ground. It's really exciting. It's going to totally transform that entire neighborhood, and the neighbors are really excited about it too.
Yeah, that was the interesting part to me, was that how everybody was so supportive in the neighborhood of this huge construction going on. And it was like they can see the value in it. Whether or not they did the homework on their own, I think that they see the value in it because there are a lot of public officials out there who made it apparent to them that this is a benefit to you and the community.
Yeah, the great thing about it is they're taking a blighted area, putting $90 million into it.
Right.
And it's not just the school, it's the sidewalks, in the development part of it goes out streets, out neighborhoods, a couple blocks out.
Nice.
Yep.
Sidewalks, antique lights, trees, so it's really going to transform the area.
I'd like to touch on those antique lights. Most recently here at LynnCAM, we had a couple interns, and they were focused on developing logos. And they were looking for a little bit of motivation, and I had said there's a ton of awesome architecture in Lynn. And also, if you go down to the beach, those little lamp posts that they've got, well, they're not little, they're huge. I wouldn't be able to pick one up. But those lamp posts that they've got out there are antiques. Tell us about that. Where did they come from?
It's just part of community development, what we do with the money that we get from the entitlement grant, whether it's antique lights, whether it's the barrels, whether it's the sidewalks, whether it's the facade grant. We work in tandem with EDIC. EDIC may give a loan to Rossetti's or Demici's or the Blue Ox or R.F. O'Sullivan's that's coming, and we come in afterwards and we'll redo the sidewalk, put up antique lights, put trees in. We like to invest where investment's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beach is one of Lynn's, you know, I wouldn't even call it a hidden gem, but it's definitely not utilized as much as you think it would be. You got something to add?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on the beach, and
Okay.
my parents are still there, and there's a couple of groups that have done some amazing things in that area. One, the DCR, over the last couple of, say, 8 years during the Patrick administration. They've had some full-time, part-time staff down there. They've kept it clean. They have folks ensuring that the lampposts you talk about, that the light bulbs are fixed, that they're painted, and also the railings are painted, and they keep it up nice. And also the Friends of Lynn and Hot Beach just do a tremendous job of
Thousands of
raising
people
money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rollerblading.
Jogging,
The concerts.
walking, the concerts that the Friends of Lynn and Hot Beach put on.
It's definitely, I mean, without a doubt, I would agree. In the summer months, spring months, even somewhat into the fall. I lived on Lynn Shore Drive too. I lived in 2 houses on Lynn Shore Drive with my uncle. It wasn't me who was paying the rent there. I was lucky enough to be there. But based on what I had seen, you know, I definitely, Friends of Lynn Beach is a huge organization down there. The concerts that they throw on for the kids and for adults, that was one of the most enjoyable things for me being a resident in the area. I mean, I could just kick my feet up on my porch and enjoy it from home. So I'd like to talk a little bit about Wyoma Square. Wyoma Square is under construction right now. What's going on there?
Well, it's a state project that's been in the works for some time, and obviously anyone who's traveled through Wyoma Square or anywhere from Boston Street up through Linfield Street has known for quite some time that it's a heavily traveled roadway, not just for pedestrian cars, but also a lot of trucks. And it's just been worn down over the many years. And the state had realized that there was need for a significant investment. And Senator Tom McGee, obviously chairman of the Committee on Transportation, as well as Bob Fennell and Steve Walsh, did a fantastic job of making sure that the state prioritized that corridor, that project. So what you've seen is just kind of the beginning. They're widening and fixing some sidewalks. They're removing and relocating some light poles to make it more safe and efficient. They're going to be doing paving. They'll be doing new lighting. It's going to be a totally different intersection, or really corridor, when you look at it over the next couple of years. And we're partnering with our friends in government, and the mayor's committed to also expanding the lot in Wyoma Square, which will be huge to the businesses there. Parking is everything.
Yeah.
And the more parking we can get down there, the more economic development we'll get down there, which means more jobs and more revenue for the city of Lynn.
Yeah, it's really important. Wyoma Square is very important. It's a Boston Street. I look at Boston Street as a feeder road into downtown. You've got a small downtown in Wyoma Square itself, I think, and then you've got a feeder road through Boston Street down to the main downtown. So it's very important to keep that up. And we've done Flax Pond over. Put about $1.5 million into Flax Pond and the splash pad.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous with the fountain. We've done some work through the $4 million bond behind Wyoma Square at Magnolia. Just had a ribbon cutting for some tennis courts up there. So the dog park, which is a great success actually.
Oh yeah,
it's wonderful. Mayor Kennedy's initiative on the dog park is wonderful, and it's a feeder road to the auditorium. So it's important.
A lot of things happening, and, and as far as economic development is concerned, as far as this council, we did some zoning, obviously some rezoning of the downtown, which hopefully will bring more additional businesses and condominiums and whatnot, different types of businesses to the downtown. But we're also, through great leadership of the ordinance committee chaired by Brendan Crichton, as well as has a number of councilors on it as well. Darren Sayre has been chairman in the past, and he's been fantastic with his institutional knowledge of the zoning. We're going to be focusing on the Boston Street corridor next. And you've seen CVS has been built there. There's been some controversy about that before, but we feel as if people are looking at the development now that it really is kind of making that area look more commercial, and it is breathing new life into that section of the city, which again, as far as revenues is concerned, we're looking to expand our commercial tax base, because an expanded commercial tax base is less pressure on residential tax bases. So that is ripe for development, and we're going to be tackling the zoning in that area, and you'll see some really, I think, fun and exciting things happening in the city over the next 5 years.
Yeah, add to that Manning Bowl and the 4 high school football teams that use it, and the 11 soccer teams that use it, I believe. Just every day, 7 days a week, it's being used. The economic spin-off that happens before and after those games, kind of like the auditorium, the economic spin-off that happens in the restaurants before and after the game. So, from Wendy's to the old Burger King to the gas stations.
Are we getting a Taco Bell?
No Taco Bell.
Oh, I know. I love Taco Bell.
Not that I'm aware of. Actually, Jim Cowdell and I met today with a barbecue place.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, that's one way to trump a taco place is with a barbecue place.
For a single guy who orders out a lot, there aren't a lot of or at least I don't know about them, but like healthy takeout options in Lynn. That would be nice. I'm a big George's proponent though, but anytime I get a salad, I'm just like, who are you kidding? But yeah, that's I have a question for it. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but infrastructure is like one of my passions. I don't know why. I'm just interested in it.
It should be everyone's passion.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Right? It's how we get to work. It's how we have our kids play in playgrounds.
Yeah,
and
get your goods, services,
Absolutely.
things like that.
Makes the world go
Put your
round.
fires out. Keep your
Absolutely.
keep your guys locked up. I
Yeah.
guess. So in regards to infrastructure, Boston Street and Western Ave are pretty heavily traveled. I'd say that they're really the big veins of Lynn. Do we need another light on Boston Street?
Well, a lot of it is just band-aided by regulations.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert. It's funny. I'm definitely no expert in traffic flows or public safety issues, such as traffic flows and whether or not you need lights. But there's been a lot of studies out there, people who are engineers and experts in these areas, and when you do certain developments, it triggers certain things.
One of our biggest Achilles heels, though, is transportation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If you think about it, coming in, there's, I think, 5 or 6 ways into Lynn, whether it's 1A coming in the Lynn Way,
right.
107, Walnut Street, 129 from Goodwin Circle, or coming in from Swampscott. And each is, the four of them come in through residential areas, stop and go, stop and go. The only one really straight shot you got is from the Belden Bly Bridge down to Squire Road in Revere. Everything else is stop and go.
Yeah. So I mean, is traffic flow a concern? I mean, in Lynn, is that something that we're working on?
Always. We're always getting calls from people who are upset about trucks on roads. We get a lot of calls about trucks.
I know who you get a call.
And
I know that.
who's watching right now. A few folks are watching right now.
Hey, he's passionate about his city, though.
And a lot of times our hands are tied,
right?
Because we're just we're able to run certain things in the cities, but obviously we're not allowed to do things that impact other communities. And traffic flow deals, you can deal with that from Boston all the way up to the New Hampshire border.
Yeah.
It's important to
make
make sure
A lot of
that
our issues in Lynn are issues that would be remedied in other communities. For instance, taking this pie in the sky idea of going straight down 107 and then putting a connector road behind BJ's and connecting it to Copeland Circle by the Revere Theater, and then off your way into Boston. But that's that's not our property.
Right.
It's property in Revere. There's smaller issues we tackle on what's called the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program, where we lobby for money. The Wyoming Square project was on the TIP for $5 million. We lobbied, the mayor lobbied, Jay Fink, when he was here, lobbied for this money, and we got it. There's Minot Street in Eastern and Western and how they interact. Is it Minot Street?
No, you're talking about
What's the
Watts?
Watts Street.
Yeah, the whole Watts. And you get Eastern and you
In
get
Western, and aligning those into a cross, as well as Franklin Street, how Franklin Street gets backed up at Boston, and adding a lane in the property where Stop and Shop is, and where the Taco Bell was talked about going. Those are smaller issues.
Yeah, but in New Hampshire, it seems like, and I don't know if this is really something they had done in the past, but they've got a lot of one-ways that seem to encourage foot traffic, help businesses.
They have a lot fewer people, though, too.
Yeah, no, that's true, too.
Cowdell talks about what this is Plan Double Z.
Oh, for Lynn, I know. Every time you dust up a new study.
Plans and studies in the one-way streets in downtown Lynn, and I mean,
we'll ask for a study. I'll say, Jamie,
Jay.
is there a study on this? Yeah, there was one done in 1978, 1984.
We just did one.
I'll say, well, has anyone read it? Like,
It's tough. The city was built when these roads, they're small little feeder roads that were built years and years, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot
just
of the
did the one
businesses are
downtown.
right up. There's nowhere to expand.
Right.
Yeah.
And think about it. From 107 coming into Lynn, there's 4 lanes of traffic, and it bottlenecks right at the GE entrance. On the other side, coming in where you live, coming in from Highland Ave, from Salem, comes in 4 lanes, and it bottlenecks into Lynn. And then it's bottlenecked 2 lanes all the way from that point to Belden Bly Bridge, our main road right through Lynn. So there's 2 bottlenecks on either side.
In October, when they start doing when Salem starts getting hopping, Western Ave is a mess, because if your GPS takes you on 107. So people who don't know any better, they get on Western Ave, and they just clog up the entire city.
Think about Saugus. It's a town.
Yeah.
And what they reap, the benefits they reap from having Route 1, from a mall to the Kowloon to all those businesses, Lowe's and Home Depot, and the Eastern Bank, that we have an Eastern Bank, but all those businesses all up and down one, and it's a town.
No kidding. Yeah, I never really gave Saugus any consideration.
Have you been reading about them in the paper lately?
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's like for me. I mean, you hear all the time you're a Lynn guy. I don't know. I've always kind of been like, what's Swampscott up to? Like, I don't know. I never looked south of Lynn.
Well, Revere's right next to us, and because for years, we never played them. Our high schools never played sports against them.
Yeah.
They're in Suffolk County. We're in Essex County.
Right.
It was almost like a different world. They're as close. I mean, obviously they touch us just like
Right.
Saugus does, just like Peabody does, Salem and Swampscott. But because kind of like our sports teams, I guess our high school scholastic sports teams, and our psyche is so geared towards the north, that for so many years we never thought
And
of
the
Revere
congressman
being a
different too.
partner with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have a partnership with any elected officials or any of the congressmen. So
Yeah.
it's strange.
Judy struck up a great relationship. Mayor Kennedy struck up a great relationship with Mayor Rizzo, actually, on the whole
Does a nice
casino
job.
thing and development.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've reached out to us too. They've invited us to the Columbus Day breakfast
Yeah.
and parades and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's been nice.
Rizzo actually came to 38 Special and Night Ranger.
Nice.
We had fourth row center seats.
It's been good. It's been helpful. And the speaker, obviously, the Speaker of the House is from Winthrop, but has a portion of Revere, and he's. I mean, every time you talk to the Speaker, he reads the item. He knows what's going on in this region, and he's been a tremendous
We just came to St. Mary's.
friend to the city of Lynn. So we're fortunate to have that type of regional
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost part of it. As important it is to develop community, it's important to work with the other surrounding communities too. We had a couple other things we wanted to touch on. Definitely want to talk about rezoning. We had touched on this a little bit. Dan, you could probably take this one.
Well, the real experts are the folks on the Ordinance Committee, and Diana Jakutis has been phenomenal in the downtown. And she's had a lot of input from the business owners, from the residents. It's fun to say that the residents of the downtown. It's always it makes me smile every time I say it, because we really do have a neighborhood in the downtown.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Pine Hills, the Wyomas, the Eastland Westlands, there is a downtown. So I think with some of the rezoning that we have done, we've taken a lot of comments, criticism from folks in and around that area who have said, "Geez, for so long, I just wish we could do open this type of store without having to go through all the bureaucracy of the city of Lynn, and we'd just rather be able to just do it, get our investment in, and start our businesses." And we took a lot of those inputs and put it into a good document, we think, and we've changed the zoning again. There was a major redraft back in 2001 that EDIC and Community Development and the mayor at the time, the City Council, got together, and they really wanted to focus on bringing folks to the downtown, and did a nice job with the mixed use concept, commercial on the bottom and residential on top. And then you fast forward, and recently there was the dollar store built in the downtown. A lot of people say, well, how could you allow that to happen? Well, the problem was that we didn't have a say in it. The zoning allowed for it. We hadn't really kept up with some of the more, we weren't thinking forward, I guess we weren't forward thinking enough at the time to think, well, when we zone now in the early 2000s, it's existing buildings, but we really didn't think about people building new buildings in the downtown. So the mixed use didn't apply to new buildings, but now that it would. So now a dollar store like that wouldn't be able to come in and build in the downtown, because what they would have to do is build a mixed use complex, and they'd have to have housing on top. So hopefully that's the last kind of development that, although we like businesses and we like people who employ folks, didn't really fit with our kind of future idea of what the downtown would look like and will look like. So it's a growing process, but I think from now on you'll see some interesting things. I know we're trying to get a brew pub downtown, which will be neat, and there are some buildings, some older buildings that are either currently owned or being turned over, that we've had some fantastic talks with the owners and the future owners.
Yeah, Dave Wallard.
Dave Waller is one of the coolest guys
Yeah.
in the city that no one even knows about. The Prime building on the corner of Union and Washington. If you saw the Globe the other day about a guy who bought the Graves Lighthouse in the middle of Boston Harbor, well, he owns the Prime building too.
Nice.
He's the one with all the, he's got the cool
Antique lights.
antique
signs.
neon lights. So he restores them too. And
Yeah.
if you go inside, he's got some of the craziest neon lights. He's got one of the most original McDonald's, because we've
Yeah.
done tours signs in the country. It's like the other one's in the Smithsonian and the other one's in downtown
He
Lynn.
also has a ton of uniforms, ton of like cowboy outfits and military
this?
uniforms. Right,
The Prime
near
building.
the Capitol building.
He's probably going to imagine
really?
Kitty corner right back from the museum.
vintage
have to
clothing.
He
jump
rents
down
it out to movie directors and production
Yeah,
companies
yeah.
that need uniforms, like Saving Private Ryan. All those
Right.
uniforms they needed,
Right.
they'd come to a guy like that, and they're all housed in downtown Lynn, right there at the Prime building.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
In
you
the
go.
back there, he's got, if you look between the train tracks and his building, there was a small parcel, probably no bigger than the studio, that was owned by the MBTA. And through help,
Tiny, Brendan and you.
Yep,
Yeah.
you helped. Jim Cahill helped. Brendan Crichton was helpful because obviously that was part of his ward, and Tom McGee was helpful in getting the MBTA to actually sell that parcel. So now Dave Weiler owns that parcel, which will help it because he needs to bring it up to ADA compliancy. And now that he has that back lot there, the small little lot, we can put elevators in. So that building is ripe for development. And when we just did the last rezoning of the downtown, that building, the VNA building, and the parking garage were not considered part of the downtown business district. So they were kind of off on their own. Again, you could literally have built a gas station by right on any of those parcels. So we looped that into the downtown zoning. So now we'll make sure that going forward, all those parcels will fit the vision of the city.
Outstanding stuff, guys. We got about a minute in the show left. I just want to use it to say thank you for coming onto the program. Let's keep this network open. I think that our viewership is probably going to benefit from knowing all of this stuff. There's a lot going on in Lynn. Be sure to pick up a copy of the item and stay in touch. You can reach out to these guys who are down at City Hall. Again, I just want to say thank you, Jamie, for being here, as you as well, Dan. That's it for the LynnCAM TV show from the studio here at LynnCAM TV. I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best.